Hi guys, it's Michelle, and today's video is going to be another haunted Halloween-y video. This one scares me a bit because I feel like amusement parks in general kind of freak me out. And today we're going to be talking about some really creepy ones, like haunted ones. I just don't love the idea. I would never want to go to one, except for there is one in this list that I kind of do want to go to. But before we get into it, I would like to thank Keen for sponsoring today's video. If you guys know me, then you know I've worked with Keen a lot. I absolutely love Keen, and Keen is basically a website that provides access to vetted psychics and spiritual advisors who provide guidance and insight on life's challenges, clarity in love, relationship, career, and more. Keen is also one of the most affordable ways to get an instant psychic reading 24/7 by a professional, which I love because like I always say, sometimes I'll be up at 3 o'clock in the morning and be like, yeah, I need a reading right now, and Keen is the perfect place to do that. I literally have used Keen for so many things that I needed guidance on in life, and I absolutely love them. I think it's super fun and convenient that you can chat with them instead of like call them. You can call them if you want to, but I personally just hate talking on the phone, so the chat option is always really convenient. So I like that Keen is also super affordable because then you can find a new spiritual advisor and it helps you find like the right one, and then you can develop like an ongoing relationship with them, set monthly intentions, do monthly chakra cleansings, and just basically gain clarity on the significance of synchronicities. Every week Keen sends its users discounts on ratings, which is super fun. So if you're already a Keen user, definitely go check your email and see what this week's discount is, because I'm sure it's poppin'. I love that the discounts make Keen a super affordable way to get multiple psychic ratings. But if you want to try Keen, go to trykeen.com/Michelle to get your first 10-minute reading for $1.99. Pricing after that depends on which spiritual advisor you choose, and all services are backed with a satisfaction guarantee, which is super great. Without further ado, let's get into the amusement parks. Personally, I'm honestly not a big amusement park bitch, unless it's Disney or Universal, just because there's more options. But like stuff like Six Flags and like anything that's like all roller coasters, like I don't like. I'm literally like, I just don't do roller coasters. Speaking of Six Flags, this is the first haunted one on our list. So in New Orleans, Six Flags was opened in the year 2000, but it was under the name Jazzland. Six Flags purchased the park in 2002, and in 2003 it had several upgrades and became Six Flags New Orleans. Of course, as most of you probably know, in August of 2005, Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans, and it was absolutely devastating. Six Flags New Orleans was 80% demolished by Hurricane Katrina, and the park sat in 4 to 7 feet of water for over a month. They never ended up reopening the park to the public, which to me is very strange. It was not just like a random amusement park, like it was a Six Flags. Like that's like a very popular amusement park. It has multiple locations, assuming it makes a lot of money. Like a lot of people go to Six Flags, so I'm just like confused, especially during the early 2000s, like how that wasn't seen as like a way to, you know, rebuild and profit, because Six Flags definitely had the money to do so. And there were also several plans of them reopening the park, but none of them ever happened. I also think is weird that they kind of just like leave this park just sitting for anyone to go to. It's just completely abandoned, and it was like a huge amusement park. So of course, amusement parks are like typically super big attraction for, you know, paranormal fanatics and people who love like exploring like abandoned places and haunted places. Can't relate to you, but people do like doing that. Six Flags New Orleans became one of the places to go. So people reported feeling super uneasy at the park and said that like this silence, but with the like abandoned buildings that were completely demolished and all of the graffiti, like something about it was just so eerie that like it literally just gives me chills. Like that freaks me out. Stuff like that, I don't like it. And I saw people like walking through it, and it literally looks so creepy. Other people have reported hearing metal clanging sounds, ghostly noises throughout the park. I also think that because New Orleans is like known for being super haunted in general, it makes the whole idea of this a lot creepier, because it's like already a haunted place, and then just this abandoned amusement park that just still stands. It's pretty insane if you think about it. And it's just so weird that they just let this sit there and continue to just take up all of this land that like obviously could be renovated into something new, or it could be changed back into a Six Flags. Like something about it is just creepy. It weirds me out that they're not planning on doing anything with the land. Like what why is it just sitting there? Like, does that not freak anyone else out? Like, I feel like it's plotting something. I don't know if I'm just being dramatic, but like, I just feel like something about that really freaks me out. I think it's just because it's a Six Flags. I just feel like Six Flags is so popular and so like widely known that like, it's so weird to me that a Six Flags would be completely abandoned like that. New Orleans or New Orleans? What do you say? I grew up saying New Orleans, but I feel like most people say New Orleans. You know, I really debated. I said this to my friend Elle, who I do the podcast with, my podcast Crazy Super Fangirls. Elle's like afraid of everything to a bigger extent than I am, and I just think it'd be so funny if like, I don't think we could do this Halloween because we really have like both have a lot of work stuff going on, but like maybe it doesn't even have to be around Halloween, but maybe next year or just sometime soon. I feel like it'd be so funny to take Elle around to like haunted like places that are like known to be haunted, like somewhere in New Orleans and then somewhere in like Salem and just anywhere that's like known to be haunted, because I think she would freak the fuck out and I feel like it'd be really funny, and I feel like having her there would make me feel like less scared because I would be more laughing at her. You know what I mean? If you want to see that, I feel like let me know. It could be so hilarious, like so funny. If you guys have ever been to this Six Flags like when it was open, let me know if it was like creepy vibes or if it felt really normal. All right, so the next one, I couldn't really find out if people thought it was haunted, but for me, I feel like it literally would be haunted by the ghost of Judy Garland, just because I feel like that's what I would do if I was a ghost. There's a theme park in North Carolina called Land of Oz, and I've never heard of this theme park, which is really fucking weird because I lived in North Carolina and I was like obsessed with Wizard of Oz and Wicked, so I'm kind of surprised I haven't heard about this, but this is the one that I want to go to. This theme park was built in 1970 and it was built completely based on the classic movie The Wizard of Oz. So the park was wildly successful in its first year. Like, it had over 400,000 people visit it in its first season, and it was super successful. Like, literally so many celebrities went. Debbie Reynolds and Carrie Fisher went. It's really interesting because I didn't know like Debbie Reynolds like part owned the dress that Judy Garland wore in The Wizard of Oz. So like I said, this park was wildly successful in the early 70s, but by the late 70s, it began to dwindle. I guess the part where people think it could be haunted is a couple of bad things surrounding the park happened. For instance, one of the founders sadly passed away of cancer just a few months before the opening of the park, which is super sad. As well, in 1975, a fire actually broke out in the park, completely destroyed the Emerald City and also part of the Dorothy Museum. Like, her house became a museum later on. So in 1980, the park actually closed, but in the late 1990s, an ex-employee suggested that they open it up for like weekends at a time, which it's still doing that, which I think is even creepier, that it is completely abandoned like 360 maybe 2 days out of the year, and then for like maybe a 3-day weekend it's open just like every year, one weekend. Honestly, it looks kind of cool and I feel like I would want to go, like besides the fact that it would creep me out a little bit, and it does just like seem really eerie, but I'm interested. Let me know if you've ever been, because this one you maybe have been to and I'm very curious. All right, so the last amusement park really freaked me out. This one's like legit haunted and ugh, it just creeps me out. So this amusement park was called the Lake Shawnee Amusement Park. It is in West Virginia, and the lot of land that it was built on has a very dark history. So in 1926, the land was purchased by a man named Conley Snendow Sr. His vision was basically to build a place where families could just relax, hang out, and enjoy their time together. The park was originally filled with fun activities like a racetrack, cabins, food stands, and a man-made swimming lake. There's also a giant swing ride and a Ferris wheel that were at the park. In the 1950s, things started to get really scary when a little girl was on the swing ride and basically a delivery truck driver backed into her swing and she sadly passed away. Another young boy passed away from drowning in one of the swimming pools after his arm got stuck in a drain pipe, which is just so terrifying. In 1966, Lake Shawnee Amusement Park ended up closing to the public and the land just sat there for decades. In the 1980s, a man named Gaylord White ended up buying the land and wanted to restore the amusement park. He wanted it to be as close to the original 1920s as possible, so he bought a similar Ferris wheel, but he ended up finding the exact swing set that was there in 1926. Lake Shawnee Amusement Park ended up being very successful in the 80s and was there for around 3 years before the insurance just got way too high. He ended up wanting to keep the land in general and make it so it would be more profitable, so he ended up having, you know, fishing tournaments there, and also he created a space on the property for mud bogging. So while they were excavating the mud bogging track, that was when Gaylord White's family discovered that the park had a lot of depth to it and like the area and the land, because as they were digging they discovered artifacts of people who originally called the land home, which was the Shawnee tribe. In the 1700s, the land was a home base for a lot of Native American people of the Shawnee tribe. When excavating, Gaylord White discovered several different artifacts from the tribe, included tools, clothing, bracelets, and sadly mass graves that suggested as many as 3,000 people of the Shawnee tribe were buried in this area. So they also discovered in the 1700s a colonial family tried to settle there, and basically that led to a fight between the colonial family and the Shawnee tribe, and obviously a lot of people ended up being murdered. So when Gaylord White discovered this, he discovered that this amusement park was built on a Native American burial ground of people who were most likely murdered. He decided not to mess with the history anymore and let them just rest in peace. This is when they left the park completely abandoned. So what's really creepy about this park is that a lot of people claim to have gone there and claim that it is very, very haunted. Most of the interactions have to do with the little girl who passed away on the swing set. Her swing is like tied with a red ribbon, and like the swing next to her, I guess, had a little owl ornament, and even on a completely still day, the owl ornament will just swing, which is just so creepy and really, really sad. But also the little boy who drowned in the swimming pool as well. People have reported to see and hear, and they report that at like an old ticket counter there's like a little pinwheel, and they also report that that moves with no wind. So that's very freaky. Stuff like that really freaks me out. Like, imagine seeing something just moving and swinging when like literally the trees aren't even moving. Like, I don't vibe with that. Once again, if somehow any of you have ever been to the Lake Shawnee amusement park, like whether if you're older when it was open or if you just have been since it's been abandoned, I would love to know if like what your experience was there, because it feels and sounds like very scary. Unless those were the haunted amusement parks, I will not be attending. Maybe the Land of Oz one, because that one does interest me. Anyway, that is it for today's video. If you guys liked it, please give it a big thumbs up. Like I said, let me know in the comments below if you've ever been to an amusement park you felt was haunted. Personally, for me, I honestly think Disneyland is low-key haunted. Like the Haunted Mansion, I think it's low-key haunted. But let me know in the comments below. That is it. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, because I'm always posting really dope ass shit on there. Subscribe for new videos every week, and I will see you guys later. Bye!